Hey guys, welcome back to another episode with the Mountain Bike Shed. Today we will be addressing squealing brakes. So super easy to fix. This is something that comes into our shop a lot. People often ask the question, why are my brakes squealing? I'll tell them it's contaminated. They'll ask me how. I don't have an answer to that. But there's always multiple reasons why something like that may happen. So a lot of times our customers, as we throw it in the stand to see what's going on, if it's squealing, they're contaminated. Maybe they didn't get bedded in proper, but you're going to need new pads. You're going to need to clean those rotors. So I'll walk you guys through how to do that on hydraulic disc brakes. It's really simple, really easy process. Something that you guys should look at doing. So yeah, we'll jump right to it. First things first, we are going to shift down to our lowest gear, which we're already in. I'm going to turn off the clutch on the bicycle, and then I'm going to remove the rear axle, which was barely in, so that's not a good sign from the jump. So I'll remove my rear axle, pushing down on my cage and pulling back on my derailleur, get it out of the way, and I'm sliding straight down as not bend the rotor. And if you were at home and you had non-chlorinated brake clean, you could remove this disc and take it off. Instead, we have the Muck Off product here. Muck Off's got a really cool new disc brake cleaner. We'll use it here on this bike. So I'm being careful, not to get this disc brake cleaner. I don't want any overspray getting into anywhere that's going to have grease or bearings or anything else. So there is a cool little So I'm just coating that brake really well. Then I'm going to let this dry on here, and I'll come back with a clean towel and wipe that off. So yeah, the Muck Off disc brake cleaner is really cool. Again, we want to use a clean towel. I'll typically recommend people use like a paper towel, something along those lines. But here at the shop, we're lucky to have plenty of clean microfiber towels take care of this process. In the meantime, I'll start to remove our rear brake. Really simple process here. I'll zoom you guys in. So removing our rear brake is not as difficult as it may seem or sound. So we've already got the Muck Off disc brake cleaner drying on our rotor because we have to clean that, but we need to remove those old brakes. So these are all going to have a pin in them. You can bend the back piece straight. Let me actually see where we're at here. Oh, I'm standing right in your way, aren't I, guys? So we want to bend this back straight, this pin, and we can pull it straight out. Some of them are going to screw in with like a 3 mil or something along those lines, but no biggie. You can do that, remove whatever you need to remove, and then let's take a look at these pads. So as you guys can see here, these pads are fairly contaminated, so we need new pads. Greasy. That can happen just from your fingers touching it. Overspray is another thing. Just if your bike's in the garage, you can do that. These are Shimano brakes, so I'm going to use Shimano pads. Jaguar makes really nice pads as well. You want to be really cautious when we're getting these in. First off, before I even bring this near all this contamination, I'm going to take our bottle of, this is isopropyl, and I'm going to clean this whole area. I'm going to spray into the caliper and clean it all up. So always clean areas you're working on. Never install into like dirty threads or never install new parts into dirty parts. So I'm going to wipe this all clean. At the same time, I'm kind of looking and seeing, am I seeing any fluid? Is anything leaking? Are we having any problems? I'm going to run my towel into the caliper here. And I'm going to make sure everything is cleaned as well as possible. Then I'm going to take a rotor spacing tool. Maybe you could have done this before you pulled the brake pads out if you weren't recording and thinking about such things all the time. So I will do that, and I will make sure my pistons are all pushed back in proper, which they are. So now we're done with that. Everything's clean. We can grab our brake pads. Now again, just the oil on our fingers enough to contaminate these guys. So I'm going to be careful when I'm pulling them out, when I'm handling them, that I'm not touching that braking surface. So I get one out. I put our spring clip there in the middle, which is good. I'm going to try to get the other one out without touching it here. And I can take this pad. On these BO5s, your base level Shimano's, Olivia's, the 200 series, they're going to be two piston. The MO5, BO5s are fine. But there's really no left or right on these. Once you start getting into Ice Tex or some higher end stuff, you can see that. And I'm just going to come in right from underneath after I kind of place those together and push the new pads in. And that's it, guys. I mean, that's literally all it takes to put new brake pads in. So if you have a rainy or wet day that you ride, if you have contamination, for $15 you can pick up new pads, and within 2 minutes you can have them installed on your bike. So really easy thing to do. As long as you don't squeeze that out. But yeah, when you stick the pin back in, it'll line everything up. And then just grab a hold of that guy and bend them over. Boom. Everything's in place, ready to go. I'm going to jump back over to our rotor here, and we're going to finish getting all that done. So we've sprayed it. Now we want to take our clean towel and knock all that back off. It is a really cool product for muck off. We want to avoid getting it into our bearings, and we just want to get this rotor cleaned up. I recommend a lot of times using paper towels, but if you use paper towels afterwards, I would grab a microfiber and just make sure, all that little like dust from your paper towels is gone. So there we go. Rotor's clean. New brake pads installed. We'll check our axle. It's got grease on it. Nice. And again, I'm going to, when I'm installing a wheel, this thing's filthy. I'll clean it up after the video. Typically, I would clean all this up before I put the wheel back in. But I'll show you guys real quick. Again, I'm going to put a thumb on the rear of the cage here. So I put my thumb on that kind of lower pulley, and then I grab leverage. I reach around to the front of this knuckle here with my pointer finger, and I push down on my thumb and pull back on the derailleur. That's going to bring everything to me. I've got my chain lined up on that high cog, the smallest cog. Then I'm going to slightly raise it up. I'm watching my rotor to make sure it slides in perfect. It does. I can release everything and then get my axle in. Once I've got that axle snug, if you're on a truck, you can pull a quick release. It says 10 Newton meters is what it wants. So I'll grab my torque wrench. I'm already at 10, the low setting for my main Park Tool torque wrench. And I grabbed a 5. All right, guys, we got the 6 this time. And I'll torque that bad boy down. We're just going 10 newton meters, which isn't that much. Again, we want to make sure on our through axles, we're not over tightening those. Most of the time customers have theirs over tightened. So bust out a torque wrench, 10 newton meters is what you need. 10 to 12 typically on rear axles. Sometimes they can go up to 15. They're typically going to say it on there. But don't over tighten them because you're going to space out those threads. And then over time, that's going to cause major damage. That can't really be repaired to the frame of the bike. So that's it, guys. That's how we address squealing brakes. And now everything is right in the world and we are back to non-squealing brakes. That's it. Quick job. Do it at home. Don't be that guy loud out on the trail. You don't need to warn people that way that you're coming. Come by the mountain bike shed. Pick up new brake pads. We carry everything here in stock. You guys can see it behind the counter, as well as that new muck off disc brake cleaner. So a combination of both of those is going to get you out of trouble. I'm going to go ahead and jump to the front, but I'll let you guys go. Enjoy the rest of your day, and I appreciate you guys tuning in with me. I'm here.